you want to try this?
Yeah, sure.
We need. Can we get some cups?
That's just not a.
So this is authentic. He says this is what we drink. You knew. It's what they drink in Fremont. It's what they drink in Moskva. It's Sovetsko Miskato.
So Leo, you successfully shipped New Year to Russia.
Happy New Year. It looks like
guys.
Horosho. Spasiba. Oh, it's actually good. It's quite good.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
That's good.
I thought it might taste like crankcase oil. I didn't know. Here. Take it. Take it away, because if we drink too much, we'll be sorry. I should have asked Ilya and how they feel about the NSA.
We've been living with that for many years.
Yeah, they're used to it. That was cool.
When I was a kid, we moved here from South Africa, and my mother used to tell me stories about how they never knew who the spy was in class, and they tried to figure out who it was, or they would hear when the phones were being tapped, but it never seemed like something I would have to live or go through.
Isn't that amazing?
It always seemed like a relic of the past.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
I will say that it's kind of cool. Like, turnabout is fair play. Back in the 70s and 80s, we used to get all the best ballet dancers by defecting to freedom. Now, like, Russia's going to get all the best like hackers and cryptographers defecting to Russia now.
Let me see if I can find the Dubai fireworks, because we did show Sydney's amazing $7 million fireworks display earlier today. And I know Dubai has equally exciting fireworks.
The Burj on fire.
They're setting what? The Burj on fire? Let me see. This is, click here to watch live streaming. This is from Emirates. They're going to light up the Burj Khalifa. That's the world's tallest building, is it not?
Yep.
This is, we can watch DMI's live feed, Dubai Media Incorporated. Let's see if we can find that. An error occurred on server when processing URL. Please contact system administrator. Well, let's see. Let's try another one here. Downtown Dubai. This is YouTube. This won't ever go down. Wow, look at that. Can you get audio out of that? Yeah, this is live because they just had their countdown. Wow, that's the Burj. Holy cow!
Looks like a Jim Cameron movie.
You can go full screen on this. Holy moly! There's a bit of a competition between Sydney and Dubai.
Yeah.
Holy
New York has
cow!
work cut out for him.
Yeah.
Then again, Dubai's real estate market is collapsing, so they have a lot of really, really big buildings they can afford to build.
They can load it up with pyrotechnics. Nobody's going to complain.
The world's biggest fireworks tower.
Wow.
Good show, though.
Quite something. Quite something. Well, Happy New Year, Dubai. Happy New Year in Moscow.
Doesn't this make you real? I'm saying this without any sarcasm. Doesn't this make you really, really happy that as a human species, we get together to say, let's just put on one killer light display that everybody will just spend 10 or 15 minutes looking up, gawking, and being absolutely delighted by it.
It is kind of amazing.
We are a very, very good species.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. London will have a very big fireworks display as well, and we will, if the weather is clear there, we will go there as well.
San Francisco always has a great one for 4th of July. You don't actually see it. It's just like big blurry lights in the fog.
Fire in the smog.
Yeah.
Our next one is Iran at hour. I don't think we have anybody in Iran, but if you're watching in Iran, I mean, look, Ilya was listening in Moscow.
Right.
If you're watching live in Iran, we would love to celebrate New Year with you live. The number is, it's toll-free in the U.S., but you can use Skype to call it. 888-827-5536. And as GKO says in our chat room, no matter what our culture, no matter what divides us, our religions, our creeds, our races, we all like watching stuff blow up. And I think that's...
Yes.
That's Prometheus gave us fire. We wanted nothing but set it off.
Continuing on with this NSA story, I don't know what more there is to say, except that it's not just the iPhone. We went down a very long list of exploits that the NSA has collected and has been collecting presumably for some time that allow it to hack pretty much everything. Some very creative names in the list. And this is the Ant Division, they call it. and this is from leaksource.wordpress.com.
This has got to be more of the Snowden stuff.
It sure feels like it, but I don't know if it is.
The article I saw said that the hardest was BlackBerry, which took them a year, but they managed to get pretty much every modern platform exploited.
They didn't go the route that the Indian government and the Chinese government went, just saying, hey, BlackBerry, can we have your source code? They decided to do it a little bit more surreptitiously. Because there's real value to doing it that way because people still trust it. If you go through the list, Iron Chef, this allows you to target systems persistently by exploiting motherboard BIOS. So you put it in the BIOS, and they can reboot, refresh, reformat. Doesn't matter. Feed
they
through.
They were apparently intercepting them in shipment, right, and then installing spyware,
hacking them. Gourmet Trough, Helix Water.
I mean, I don't know whether you would get this any other way other than the Snowden.
Well, you could make it up. I mean, somebody very, very creative could create it. But
well played if you did.
Yeah. It sure feels like it's accurate.
I don't know if it's just me, but the minute I don't know whether I could trust a system or not, my default, like my only same response seems to be you can't trust it. And we were kind of teasing Andy a couple months ago when he said he taped over his webcam when he wasn't ready to have it used, and now I know exactly how he feels. I want to tape over everything.
Well, Steve was telling us that the NSA has the capability of turning on your Mac webcam without turning on the light. They we were really 2 years ago trying to figure this out. Is it a hardware connect? Is it possible? Well, the NSA figured it out probably 2 years ago. and I think maybe, if you don't want somebody to spy on you, it's not just the light, it's the microphone. It's not just your Mac, it's your cell phone.
Well, I think that if you don't want someone to spy on you, if you really want to be serious about this, you need to stay in a room and close off the windows and make sure that there's a soft pad between those windows because, of course, you can laser the windows.
Oh, you mean like loud audio, the audio-based RS retro reflector that provides room audio from a targeted space using radar and basic post-processing? You mean like that?
Yeah, that's old stuff.
And they were using audio to attack encryption, right? They were trying to read the sounds off the CPU to get through 4,096 bit encryption.
How about this? The wireless exploitation injection tool. You just carry it around. It's a x86 laptop running Linux. You put some software on there and you can get into Windows, whatever you want. Inject via wireless. This list is kind of scary.
When I was a kid, Leo, I watched things like Firefox, where Mitchell Gant could use Russian thought to control a plane. And I wanted all this stuff. I wanted thought control.
You got
I wanted everything connected. And I don't want any of it anymore. The idea that I could have a neural implant that someone would hack now is just appalling to me.
Ginsu. And the names are so good.
Ginsu. That is a software application persistence for the CNE implant. It's a Conger on target systems of the PCI bus hardware implant bulldozer. I don't even know what I'm reading here. But anytime I see persistent, I get a little nervous. Howler monkey. This is a short to medium range implant RF transceiver. I don't think they mean like implant into your skin, or do they?
Yeah, probably to a device.
Probably just a device.
But this gets into that whole thing where they were buying. So they were talking about the fact that they were intercepting shipments and then implanting stuff into the electronics.
Yeah. Like Junior Mint. It's very refreshing. A digital core packaged in both the mini printed circuit board PCB to be used in typical concealments and a miniaturized flip chip module to be used in implants with size constraining concealments. You could stick this pretty much anywhere.
And the thing was, if you chose not to use Google or Facebook, I mean, if you did not want to share your information, you could make that choice and just not participate.
Yeah,
but this you have absolutely no choice in.
Yeah. If I were Canadian, I'd be pissed.
You see, well, the thing is, like, CSIS exists only really to spy on Canadians because we're Canadian. We really have nothing else to do. And in England, they have certain laws. And other countries like China, this is just par for the course. But the idea is that you want them to be upfront about it so they know what you're getting. And all these secret programs kind of shatter. It's not that they shatter your trust, that they make it impossible for you to ever trust your own government again.
Or any piece of hardware.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what do? Do you bomb yourself back to the Stone Ages and live with your pet rock in a cave somewhere and worry about, like Alex said, sealing off the cave door at night? It just there seems like there's no answer to this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So just give up. I give up. You win.
Well, I have to admit that I went in the early 90s, I was extremely, I would like literally Colorado made you give your thumbprint, and I burned my thumbprints off with my skillet.
What?
They'll melt right off. They come back. They come back.
What are you, nuts?
Really funny. It's really funny after you've melted them off. because you go in there and they keep on asking you for your thumbprint
Doesn't
over
that
and
hurt?
over again. Yeah, it hurts for a minute. Well, maybe for a couple hours. Anyway, so, but but I was like really serious. Like they are not going to have my thumb. I'm not giving them my thumbprint, and I would use cash, and I was like very serious about this whole thing. And then there was some point I was just like,
who cares?
I cannot. And so then I just gave up, and I just assumed that I'm being viewed. I'm being viewed by the government.
It's the panopticon.
I went the other way.
It's the panopticon. The whole notion of the panopticon was industrial era invention of a guy named Bessemer who said, well, here's what you do. You make a prison where the guards can see into any cell at any time, but the inmates can never tell if they're being spied upon or not. So the presumption of the inmates is I could be watched at any time, and so they'll all behave. That's what we have, a panopticon. We don't know when we're being spied upon, but we presume they could at any time.
And this is and there are certain levels of security. You know, I've been really thinking about a lot of the low energy Bluetooth stuff. I just got these little, I don't know where I put it, but I have I put this little Bluetooth, one of the low energy ones on my key ring so I can find my
Love
keys.
that stuff.
And but I realized, it's going to get to a point where you put one of those on your kids, in the mall, and you can set it up to say my kid can't leave the mall. And it will literally, at some day in the future, it'll get to a point where it won't open the door for your kid. Like those auto doors will just shut because they'll, he has an ID, which means for a parent, from a security perspective, you just know that your kid won't walk out, like your 3-year-old won't walk out, and someone won't try to won't pick them up. And these are all things that are going to happen pretty quickly. I mean, and so I think that it's going to be very, very hard to be anonymous.
I think that it really is going to have us reevaluate what is the trends, what is the contract that we have with our phone. And I'm not talking about the contract we have with the carrier. I'm talking about here is the ways that this pocket device is going to enhance my life on a day-to-day basis, and here's what I have to give up in order for that sort of convenience. And we're used to the idea of we've been seeing over the past 10 years how we can create our own terms of service that, technically speaking, this will allow anybody to get in touch with me at any moment for any reason. But I also have the ability to ignore it, to not have this Pavlovian response to it. But now we realize that another part of that contract that we have is that it is incredibly useful to have this device that can maintain a communication between ourselves and the world that's around us. I'm talking about our physical presence, with having GPS around, having connection to Wi-Fi around, being able to access information everywhere. But now we know that part of that cost is going to be that information is going to be exposed to a third party. And whereas traditionally we always used to think about that in terms of, well, what if I'm using an unsecured Wi-Fi hotspot? Now it's also, what if there are people who have the sort of resources for which encryption and countermeasures mean nothing? Am I okay with the idea that the fact that I'm drifting through this Wi-Fi network, not accessing the network, I'm just happen to be driving through it? Am I okay with the idea that a government agency or even a private individual will have that ability to note that sort of stuff?
Well, and I think one of the things you have to, and I don't mean to be so resigned to it, but it's just like I worked with a lot of folks in the 90s that kind of shattered any view that I had that I was ever going to be private. I mean, we can. There's a lot that they can do. So the thing is that there's a lot that can be done. I mean, they can identify you from 50 feet away of an embassy, from the heat recognition on your face through cloth, and if you start coming past that embassy more often than you're supposed to, they start tracking you. So the thing is that's circa like 1993. So the thing is that it's I think we just need to be clear that this technology is a lot further along. I mean, the whole enemy of the state stuff is probably not that far off of what's available.
And we also have to understand. We also have to understand that it's not an either or proposition. That whenever I think about the more extreme ways to react to all these NSA revelations, I think about that viral photo of that guy who was it the PGP encryption key that became public. And someone tried to make it illegal to post that. And he said, "Oh, I'll show you. I'm having the key actually tattooed on me. This happened, mister. You can't control me." And now for the rest of his life, he has this thing on his chest that means absolutely nothing to anybody.
Yeah,
he has to say, "Well, I decided that the events of the past week required that a stupid and useless gesture be made on someone's part, and that I would be exactly the right person to do that."
I remember when I was a little kid, my grandmother told me that there was an omniscient being looking at me and watching me all the time.
What?
I tried to make this analogy, like, I had 10 channels of cable back then, and I was bored stiff. I was flipping channels all the time, and I couldn't imagine anyone with any level of sentience would find me interesting for more than a microsecond, and I took solace in that. But the thing, so the surveillance doesn't bother me as much as the idea that all this stuff is being stored so that it's persistent and it can be referred back to for years. For example, someone doesn't like me being on MacBreak, so they say, oh, 10 years ago, Renee did this, and they, all of a sudden that video is just everywhere. I'm okay with the idea of a police officer stopping me when I go through a stop sign. I don't like the idea that they can go back 5 years and say, oh, by the way, we want to get you now. Here's a stop sign you ran 5 years ago.
Well, and I think that it's also the ability to manipulate that. I mean, I think that if you go back to a movie like Enemy of the State, you can see what happens when you have all of that. It's not so much, and you can see stuff in the NSA of let's follow this guy around and find things that are embarrassing for him.
My ex-girlfriend, we found out they were following some of their ex-wives and girlfriends, and I don't want to feel like a prisoner. I want to feel like a citizen.
I mean, I think that's the scarier part is individuals going down this path, or even officials going down a path of, we now have the last 10 years of everything you've done electronically, and we're going to use it, to quell, any argument against the government. And I think that's the thing that is very frightening. I'm not saying that I'm not, that I'm not saying that I think it's a good thing. I just think that it's pretty deep rooted. That's all.
What really concerns me more than anything else is when people who are legitimately feel as though they're doing their jobs. They don't have malicious intent. They know that they are duty bound to protect the public interest. Time and time again over the past several years, we've seen law enforcement get, for lack of a better word, get cute and say that, for instance, well, we decide that we don't need a warrant to surreptitiously install a GPS tracking device on someone's car because we've already demonstrated that it is legal for us to simply assign somebody to tail this person. So this is really, from a legal point of view, absolutely no different from taking one of the few police officers that we have and having him tail this person 24 hours a day for an entire month. It's exactly the same thing.
Well,
and so when you get to it just makes me concerned that we'll have that same sort of thing, saying that, for instance, as drones become a part of like standard equipment, what if someone wants to say that we really need to get a look into every single window of this 3-story house? We have the legally that we're allowed to fly an airplane above the airspace and take photos of the yard. Technically, this is another type of aircraft, so we don't need a warrant to do that now because, yes, this precedent was set 30 years ago before the idea of a tiny, affordable, remotely controlled and operated investigative camera was even considered. That's the sort of stuff that really concerns me.
Well, and I think
you need a warrant for stuff. You need to, at some point, present yourself to a judge and say, here is what we want to do, and here's why we want to do it. And when you start to think that we don't need to get permission from everybody, that's when I start to get really scared.
Or they said because we gave Google stuff, we're no longer entitled to not give it to the government.
Well, and I think that the other side of obviously the other coin of this is stuff like the Boston bombing, where those guys were dead to their rights like within a couple hours after that happened. The only reason that their video was released of them, which was 1/10 of what the FBI had, was because vigilantes were starting to go down the wrong path. The thing is that you really got, I don't know if you really look at all the information that was acquired of what they've made public, of what was acquired of those guys from all the surveillance cameras, obviously there's a lot of stuff that, it takes all the fun out of having a terrorist act in the United States, and I think that is, or in any place that is highly,
unfortunately, it didn't stop it.
It didn't stop it, but it did. But they had more explosives. They had more things.
Right.
They had, there was a lot.
That's true.
This was the beginning.
More stuff.
They were not. That wasn't going to be. When you saw what they already had, they definitely were planning more. And
it also has to be said that we shouldn't set ourselves up to think that law enforcement is the bad guy universally, because whatever surveillance that was in place was not able to prevent the Boston Marathon bombing, but every time that law enforcement has a victory like that, they almost by definition can't say we prevented this and here is exactly how we did it.
Well, and also they're not telling you about most of their successes because they don't want to scare us from leaving our house. There's the cost of. I think we also have to be clear of the cost of being an American. is very high, and we are the rich of the rich, and there's a lot of people that are upset with us that have a lot of other things, and we can talk about why and everything else, but the point is that there's a very high cost of being American that we just have to be aware of as well.
For me, it's the checks and balances. Of course, law enforcement is going to want every tool at their disposal. They should want to be able to do everything they possibly can, but there should be an equal and opposite oversight of that. And I think that's where we're having the failings now, especially in the government. Whenever we're scared, whenever we are injured, whenever we're hurt, we're usually more than willing to sacrifice a little bit of freedom for the perception of protection. But that's supposed to readjust and rebalance. And we're supposed to have people in authority saying, okay, these are the tools you need this far and no further. And it seems that this far and no further, like Andy said, is becoming very, very slippery.
I think it's obvious that the biggest thing that's missing right now is checks and balances.
Yeah.
So Anand has just released his Mac Pro review, thanks to the chat room who noted that he just tweeted it. And I guess we'll have to kind of parse it bit by bit. Anand, of course, very good at getting down to the hardcore guts of performance in particular. Let's see if I can. It's a long article as usual. Let me.
It's what he does best.
Oh, it is.
And how many people are just like sighing, saying TL, DR? Yeah, that's because it's a substantive piece that will actually make you smarter at the end of it. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's got 5 generations of Mac Pro compared. This is where the history, the heritage of Anand is just remarkable because, of course, he's done these benchmarks going back years. And here is Cinebench, which, of course, I'm not sure Cinebench is the best measure of this.
I think he does the standard ones just to give you something to relate across different platforms. And then he does his own to try to dig deeper into it.
Yeah. Here's Firefox build time. He's got putting Mac Pro performance in perspective, professional apps, Mac Pro versus consumer Macs. That was that discussion that we were having. The PCIe layout, GPU choices, gaming performance, power consumption, and noise. Let me skip. What we'll do is I'll skip to the bottom and invite you all to go to Anand, ANANDtech.com if you want to read the full
Final
review.
words. It's badass.
Final words. I honestly never thought I'd go back to a Mac Pro. I appreciate the flexibility offered by my 15-inch MacBook Pro as a desktop, and there's no way I was going to take 2 steps back in a single-threaded performance just to get a quieter system. Over the past year, I spent a lot of time with the 27-inch iMac. As I continue to evaluate Apple's Fusion Drive, I appreciate the greater thermal headroom, the quieter operation, the better GPU performance the Mac offered me above the Retina. Combine that with the fact that I've been on the road a lot more lately. I've been having to take my 13 around. It's actually, he says, shocking how poorly Final Cut Pro 10.1 runs on older Mac Pros without an upgraded GPU. So it sounds like the time is right for this. He likes how much RAM it can support. He likes the chassis a lot. It's a risk, but one that absolutely must be taken if the desktop is going to continue to exist and thrive. The thermal design makes a tremendous amount of sense. Thermal core works extremely well in practice. Apple did a good job of hiding most of Intel's Ivy Bridge EP platform faults from the end user. USB 3 and Thunderbolt 2 are present. Latter can drive up to 6 displays without any funny cable trickery. He says he's disappointed that there aren't any high DPI modes for the 32-inch Sharp. That's something that 4K people will be interested to see. Mm-hmm. All in all, the Mac Pro is a good update to its aging predecessor. Apple did a great job with the new chassis and built a desktop that's extremely dense with compute. Don't know what that means.
More compute per square inch, Leo.
It's compute density. That's true, given the size of that thing.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to beat.
It's amazing how Apple, they're so successful
for
with MacBooks,
RVs,
they can take these huge risks with their desktops.
The old Mac Pro was a big, bulky pain to work on and substantially behind the consumer Macs in single-threaded performance. The new Mac Pro literally fixes all of that. If you have a workload that justifies it and prefer OS X, the Mac Pro is thankfully no longer just your only solution. It's a great solution. So a very positive review from Nandlal Shimpi at anandtech.com.
After I got over the whole round thing and I understood why they were doing it.
Why? For cooling?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't build something that small if you don't cool everything at one time.
Right. By the way, this NSA thing, I don't want to go back on that, but Apple did announce that they are going into China big time starting January 17th. China Mobile is bringing the iPhone to China. I have to wonder if this leak about the iPhone being, didn't our government warn us about buying Chinese phones? What will China's response be? And what will China Mobile's response be to these revelations? They're about to launch into this market in a big way. Not good timing for Apple.
Because the Chinese government will be concerned about Americans buying through iPhones.
Exactly.
Turnabout's fair play.
Exactly. Turnabout is fair play.
They're manufactured in China, so there'll be so much spyware on that machine it won't even work.
Well, you know it's telling when Obama says that he can't he's not allowed to use an iPhone. They said
Yeah, but they didn't let him use his BlackBerry either. He had to use
he's got his BlackBerry.
But he does now. But when he first got in office, it was a Windows phone.
BlackBerry into China, I think they said he has to use that NSA secure Windows Mobile, not even Windows Phone. Windows.
No, it's
Mobile.
Windows 6.5 mobile.
Yeah.
Is that still the case? That's still what he's using?
I don't know, but they said he can't take his BlackBerry into China.
Jeez Louise. Yeah. Anybody from Iran? Anybody at all? We have 1:42 seconds until New Year in Iran. Last chance.
So did Anand convince you to hit the buy button, Leo?
I will buy it, but I don't want to buy it not for delivery 2 months from now. I want it now. Don't
Anyone
you
is
think?
listening at an Apple store with stock.
Well, that's
call Leo
what. See, this is what I'm. It's a gamble. I could guarantee delivery in February sometime.
Right.
Or I could take a chance that someday my Apple store will have one in the next.
Order it now, Leo, and then if
I
you
could
buy
cancel
it. Cancel it. Yes.
There you go.
Somebody in the chat room who has a degree in psychology is going to give you exactly the name of this syndrome.
It is a
cognitive
syndrome.
dissonance.
The guaranteed reward in 2 months' time, or the chance of reward immediately.
I have very poor impulse control.
Learned helplessness, I believe it's called.
Learned helplessness. Welcome.
It's called being an Apple consumer.
Welcome, Apple customer. Learn helplessness. The majority of porn in the United States is viewed on smartphones. What is that? That's very surprising.
Yeah.
But that's
crazy.
why Apple really wants to stick with that one-handed operation, I think.
There's a big screen joke in there somewhere, Leo.
I'm not sure if I want to see porn at 4K.
I don't know. I
already find all those tattoos upsetting.
I don't know.
I talked to a guy in LA. I was at speaking at some event, and I asked him. This is years ago. I said, "So what do you do?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm a rotoscope artist. Rotoscope artist is someone who does paint fixes."
Hold on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Really? 2, 1. Happy New Year! It's 2014 in Iran.
Whoever's in that chair underneath the balloon, wow, what a bad seat for this.
There was a guy there, actually, and he moved.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, this is very similar to Afghan. It's Sela no Mubarak.
Sela Mubarak. Why is President Mubarak showing up in both of those?
No,
I don't know either.
Evidently,
Happy New Year.
He evidently was a real party animal.
Yes, in Farsi. Thank you, everybody. It is 2014 in about half the globe, but we've got more to go, and we're going all the way till American Samoa. Our next New Year's Eve will be in Nairobi, Baghdad, Khartoum.
I've been sitting here
Minsk.
trying to get a hold of somebody in Nairobi.
You know people in Nairobi.
I know. Well, I have a friend, Hanif was in Dar es Salaam, and I was like, "Are you awake?" And he is, but he's in Doha on his way to Orlando. I was like, "Oh, that's not going to help." So
you can call us +1 888 827 It is a toll-free number in the U.S., which means if you use Skype out, it'll be toll-free to you.
I'm sure that our listeners across the world who are also Apple fans are like relishing this because usually it's those of us here in North America, we get the good stuff first, and that's them. The rest of the world who have to wait for the cool stuff to arrive. Here we are just holding on. We can't pop the corks. We can't really do it because But okay, I hope in New Zealand, I hope that in Iran, I hope that in Russia you're enjoying it. Just don't spoil it for us. We will read your reviews of 2014 because we can't wait. But
we'll be with you in moments.
I'm very curious what they drink in Islamic countries where you don't drink.
What I've been drinking, Martinelli's sparkling apple cider.
Oh, well, there you have it.
It's lovely. A lovely beverage. When are you going to do your
don't ask me.
mixology class? After MacBreak Weekly?
After MacBreak. About an hour after MacBreak, I'm doing, I think, three sessions.
Okay.
And we'll talk about 2 drinks each time.
Okay, good. The GizWiz is coming up in about 2 hours, a little less, 1.5 hours. So maybe we should wrap up MacBreak Weekly. I think we've got all the big stories. Might be a good time to do our picks of the week. And actually, my pick is your pick from last week. I brought in the Anki. So we're going to do a little Anki driving. But first, let's get Renee Ritchie's pick of the week this week.
My pick of the week is Sonos's home theater system. A friend of mine, Kevin Mitchell, has been telling me how good Sonos has been for a long time, and I just didn't have a use case because I do not listen to a lot of music. But recently they've added a play bar, which is sort of like a center and 2 side speakers, and they've added a sub, which is a giant subwoofer to their system. And I watch a lot of movies and a lot of television, so immediately I had some reason now to justify the still rather massive purchase price of this equipment. And Andy very kindly on Twitter gave it one of the best things he ever says is this is something that I would actually keep myself. When I hear that from Andy, I know that it's really safe to buy.
Yeah, I agree.
So I went straight in. I got the play bar, I got the subwoofer, and I got 2 Play 3s for the sides because I have a rather large octagonal cavernous.
Wait a minute. Let me do the math there. That is, you're talking about, what, like $1,500 worth of crap there.
It's Canadian money, Leo, so I pretend it's like eating calories on a plane.
But I want to point out I have exactly the same setup.
It's fantastic.
It's awesome.
But previous to this, I had a Pioneer and I had the Element speakers, and it took me forever to wire them up, to run wires around this massive room to get everything calibrated. This, I plugged in the play bar right into my network. It sits right next to my router, so it was easy to do. It detected the other components. It asked me a few simple questions about where they were positioned. It ran some software updates. It calibrated everything. The controller, they've gotten rid of the expensive $300 controller. You have an app now on your iPhone or iPad. It lets you control all the elements. I can easily go to night mode so my neighbors don't complain after 11 p.m. I can easily make it enhanced speech so that the sound effects aren't overshadowing all the dialogue. And it sounds terrific. It is 5.1. I used to have 7.1, but I am not acoustically sensitive enough to notice the difference. It still sounds terrific. The subwoofer is much more impressive than I thought it would be. The play bar compared to discrete speakers in the front and left, absolutely fantastic. You can also, it does not unfortunately support AirPlay. That's the one thing that I'm missing, but I have an Apple TV hooked into it anyway. The optical cable comes right out of the TV and into the Sonos system, so it doesn't matter what source is going into your TV. It'll just go right out into the system. And it is almost miraculous. We've talked about the Hue light bulbs before. I have that all over the house, so I can control that with my iPhone. And now all the sound is being controlled with my iPhone too. I had a bunch of family over for the holidays. We've been watching a ton of movies, and I'm more impressed with it than I thought I would be.
I agree. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's also they get you because you buy this like you buy a model train set.
Yes.
Where you buy the first set, and then because it's what I like about Sonos is that it is an expandable system. Because if all you want to do is I want to have really, really great sound in my living room where I listen to music, you can do that. And then maybe 4 months later you realize, oh, if I throw another Sonos, a $200 like Play One speaker in my bathroom, then I could like be listening to music in the bathroom while I'm showering and shaving. That, well, actually I should also put one in the bedroom, because that way I can pair those two as 2 different mono speakers. And so because I'll shower, then I'll move into the bedroom and get dressed, and I'll have the same audio going from, oh God. And by the time, but it's like, but the great thing is that you can start off with a really good $200 like bookshelf speaker that is exactly the same price as a Bluetooth speaker that you'd buy just as have something to listen to in the office. And then as you keep adding, it just becomes better and better and better. Great stuff.
I have them in every room. It is a ridiculous expense, but
if unlike me, you actually do listen to music, it ties into songs on a bunch of other fantastic services, so you can just play directly. It's quite marvelous.
Well, and I use
it's not like what I used to do. I used to do this sort of stuff by having Bluetooth speakers, and the thing is, they're independent streaming media devices. So really, if I've got the app on my Android phone, I've got the app on my iPad, I've got the apps on my Macs, and each one of these can simply direct whatever music I want to any speaker I want. So I don't need to simply have this phone with me. That's the repository of my music, and just good stuff.
Yeah, and if you are a person who loves great music, this you can have a Sonos Connect in your stereo system, which I do, so that I can use my nice speakers and my nice amplifier, but use the Sonos wireless capability. So that adds the regular stereo into the mix, and that's nice too. So you have a lot of choices, a lot of nice choices. We didn't finish your. Thank you, Renee. We didn't finish your story. I interrupted it with a countdown.
I don't remember what story I was.
What was the story he was talking about?
The Roto. So Roto is we're talking about 4K.
Rotoscoping. Yeah.
Rotoscoping is when you paint artists. You paint stuff out, and you correct things and. There've
also been entire movies that are rotoscoped.
Well,
Waking Life is an amazing,
right? But I mean, pretty much
the original
Lord of the Rings.
the Ralph Bakshi.
Every effect shot has some roto in it. I mean, so 80% of Lord of the Rings, 90% of Star Wars. There's some roto. Like they're touching something up. Like right. There's something went behind his head. A mic got into the shot. And there's a lot of stuff that's pretty intense. So anyway, I said, I was interested in what movie he was working on, and I said, so what do you do paint fixes for? And he said porn. And I was just like,
wait a minute, they rotoscope porn?
And he said, yeah. He goes, when we moved to SD to HD, there's a certain class of actors that don't really go from SD to HD well, and so my job is to fix that.
Wow. That is about the worst job I've ever heard of.
And he said, I just got to get out of this. I just got to get out of it. He goes, I can't. He goes,
I'm kind of amazed that the budgets of porn allow for rotoscoping.
Evidently for some of it. In fact, this is years ago though. This is back before the Internet of Things.
Too bad they can't rotoscope acting in.
Yeah, that would exactly. Yeah. So
anyway, your pick of the week.
So I have really gotten into short cables. So these are lightning cables.
Cables are too long.
So my whole thing is I have to pack a lot for a long period of time, and so I'm always thinking about I need a certain number of cables to connect everything, and all that extra cable means that it gets all tangled up. It's hard to store. It is it's everywhere all the time. And so I've really gotten into short cables. Apple makes a pair that makes these lightning cables that are these are lightning cables that are short. But I like these in-case ones a little bit better. So these are all different colors, and I don't know why I like the colors, but it makes me happy. So they have lots of different colors, two or three different colors.
Are they more than charging? Because I know that
I think these do everything.
They
sync.
They're fully licensed.
These are licensed. These are in-case.
Apple logos.
So they're
in-case. Yeah,
they're licensed and they're great. And I have to admit, I don't really connect my phone to I don't really know because I don't connect my phone to. All I do use these for is charging. But you can get them at the Apple Store, so I'm assuming that they are.
They must be fully.
That they're fully blessed.
And they're hideously expensive, right? So.
Oh yeah, I mean sure that they're pretty expensive. So I don't know, they're $24 or
$25,
$25
or
$30, something like that. Yeah, depending on how the length of them. Right. But they're if you're looking for kind of something a little bit more fun and short. That is
like my last girlfriend. No, I'm sorry.
Anyway, yeah. So that's my pick. So anyway.
I agree. Cables could be very long and they get tangled.
I get lots.
Who needs them?
Exactly.
What do you want a phone across the room from your laptop? That's crazy.
And I have a couple long ones. It's not like I got rid of all of them, but I am charging a lot of stuff, so I like to keep just a handful of short ones.
We're spending your money today, Andy and Akko. Do you have an inexpensive pick of the week?
Actually, I have two really good and expensive picks of the week. There are two sales that are going on this week. Every single year, Comicraft has the New Year's Day sale in which every one of their hand-lettered and display fonts is 1 penny for every year past the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. If you believe in such a thing, I don't mean to say you don't believe. Whether you believe or not, it's still going to be $20.14 for every single font in their catalog.
And they act now because next year it'll be $20.15.
I know, boy, won't you be kicking yourself? And so that price applies to the few fonts that cost $19 normally, but it also applies to the fonts that cost $495. And so every single year, I will buy whatever new font they've come out with over the past year that I really, really like, and they're great things. They specialize in as the name of their company indicates, they specialize in hand lettered style fonts that are actually used in comic books. They went to digital a long, long time ago, and so many companies are now using lettering that comes from the fonts that they actually make. Some of these you actually see that they're named after a specific style of artist because they might have been developed for a specific book, so they give it a distinctive look. But if there's a reason, there's so many times when you want happy holidays on your family Christmas card, and you look at the 40 fonts that came free with your Mac, and you don't have the perfect one they have the perfect one, and it will be exactly $20. Or sometimes you should spend $20 on a good, like, thick brushstroke, hand lettered sort of thing, because how many times you have to print, passive aggressive notes saying, there is a reason why I put my name on the cottage cheese, not so that you can thank me for giving you free cottage cheese, but so that you know that this is my cottage cheese. It will seem a lot less of a prickish thing to put up there if it's in a beautiful, like, hand lettered brushstroke font, as opposed to Helvetica aggressive. Which is whatever comes there.
Helvetica aggressive is good. That's my favorite font.
We should definitely do that.
Yeah.
So the sale is tomorrow. It's not today. It is tomorrow, January 1st.
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day. Sometimes they extend it by a few hours. So if this goes out like a little bit later than that, you might still be in there with a chance. If you're listening live, what I recommend you do is definitely hit the site today, because that's when they have like the regular prices still up. And so sometimes you want to see, if you're on the fence over whether you want to buy this one font or not, maybe the fact that, well, this is normally $140. Yeah, maybe I'll just toss $20 out the window. You can also download a PDF catalog that has everything in it, and you can browse them that way. So that's one pick. The other one is something that I just saw this morning. Comixology is having a really great sale on digital graphic novels of DC, some DC Comics best comics. They're $5.99 each, and some of these are like 66% off. And so many of these aren't just collections of things they've done recently. So many of these are real classics. Like Superman, All-Star Superman, I think for me is the definitive Superman series. Watchmen, it's Watchmen V for Vendetta, Swamp Thing, the first arc in Neil Gaiman's Sandman.
Vendetta, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and these are all like normally $13 to $20. And so you get the entire story start to finish for just $5.99. Fables is one of the best new series I picked up in the past 3 or 4 years, but I somehow managed to not have the first story arc in digital, so I had to go buy that this morning. And it has, when I tweeted out this link this morning, someone pointed out to me that there is a similar sale going on Amazon, but that's a good opportunity for me to point out that if you have a choice, you definitely want to buy the Comixology digital comics, because their reading technology is so much more sophisticated than what Amazon will give you. I've bought graphic novels from Amazon for Kindle that were just so badly done that I had to crack the file open, get the digital files, and produce an unlocked version.
Wow! Just
so that I could navigate it more intelligently than what's available. Comixology, they are a publisher of digital comics and nothing else. So they developed a format that is optimized just for reading digital comics, whether you're reading it on a big old iPad, a tiny little phone, or anything in between. So you definitely want to get your stuff from Comixology, not from other places.
And he's absolutely right. I've tried them too. I've bought iBooks, I've bought Kindle books, and Comixology are by far the best. And I'd also recommend, if you've only ever seen Batman on the TV, go buy Batman Year One, The Killing Joke, and Dark Knight Returns, and you will know everything you need to know about Batman.
Oh, I love the Dark Knight stuff.
Yeah.
So last week, you, Mr. Alex Lindsay, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, recommended that we all run out. Was it you?
I don't know, but I did run out and
go
get
and buy
one.
it. No, actually, was it Renee? You were talking about the Anki Drive.
That was me.
Was Andy?
It was Andy.
Yep.
ANKI.
I don't know who recommended it, but I know that I bought it. It's sitting and waiting. Tonight is
Andy cost me a lot of money this holiday season.
I know.
Oh, so you haven't played with it yet?
No,
Would you like to?
Yes.
All right.
Rolling it out. I'm rolling it out for my son. Unfortunately, he doesn't watch this show tonight. So
My son was underwhelmed. He wanted more explosions, so I get to keep it.
my son's younger.
Yeah, I think
he's gonna. He just loves
it's very
cars.
cool. So you all saw it, which was it's these kind of slot cars using Bluetooth LE.
Uh-huh.
Get your Anki Drive on your smartphone so we can play here, and they're really cool. The chargers look like mice. They're USB chargers, and it comes with a 3-pronged plug. The starter kit is, and by the way, ridiculously expensive. $299 for
I'm pretty sure it costs about a credit card.
And a track and 2 cars, and then you and I both bought 4 cars total.
You have to.
The cars are autonomous. They have AI, so you can drive one, and the other 3 will drive against you, which is a lot of fun. So I thought we'd do this. So they charge up. They take about 8 to 10 minutes to charge up for 20 minutes of driving. That's good. And each car has its own unique, not only look, but its own unique capabilities. Some are better defensively. Yes, there's guns. Although they're all imaginary, some are better.
Real.
They're not real guns.
Question
So-
is, does the NSA have a back door to your computer? That's
This is Roe. I'm sure the NSA has a little chip in this one.
They know exactly how you drive.
This is Catal. I think these are These are not the starter kits. These are the extra ones. This one is Boson. It's kind of pretty, isn't it? And then finally, and these are all charged up. I've been charging. They don't take very long to charge up. The yellow one is called Kurai. So I don't know how we're going to do this microphone-wise. You have a handheld? Okay, good. So let me. Why don't you join me, Alex? Get the Anki Drive. It's an iPhone app. Anki Drive. Well, we'll get started with it because we have to kind of program these.
All right.
Andy's already done this, right?
Yep. As a matter of fact, I had someone over, and it was hard to get the controllers back.
It's a lot of fun. Part of the starter kit is this big track. It's just a vinyl sheet, but the cars are smart. So I'm going to turn up the sound, which they recommend. Whoa, don't.
Some Apple stores have demos set up too, so if you're not convinced, you can go and watch them.
It's fun to play. I got to say, I like it. But Henry was less than overwhelmed.
He wasn't underwhelmed. He wasn't overwhelmed. He was just whelmed.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yes.
His friends played with it for a while. I think it's a little too intellectual, frankly. I think he wants something that actually blows up. So I'm going to keep. You can hear me a little bit, right? Because I want to keep the mic near the iPad. I'm running the iPhone app. So notice the first thing it says: connect to my cars. Whoops. No, not Siri. Connect to my cars to get started. So it's going to tell me, drive is best with sound. Yes, indeed. I've turned it up. And now it's going to say, get started. And I'm going to plug in the vehicles. I've already charged the vehicles. We have a yellow one and a silver one. Let's put those down. What'd you do?
Mine's almost done.
Yours is almost done? All right, so I'll put these down here. These vehicles are right here, yellow and silver.
Nice shoes, Leo.
You like the shoes?
Yes.
They're very comfy. They go well with my tuxedo.
Okay, well, do I have to be on this?
Oh,
They're
wait,
very
you know what?
Mickey Mouse.
I have to go plug these in. This is part of the annoyance factor. Is that the setup is kind of arcane.
Well, and then the other question is, do I have to be on the same Wi-Fi network?
Yeah, we all have to be on production. No, it's Bluetooth LA. You do not have to be on any Wi-Fi network. So plugged in and plugged in. Okay, they're plugged in both. Okay, good. Now connecting. Put vehicles on track and push. Okay. You see already why Henry was disturbed. It's like, what? I gotta go plug it in. I already charged it.
And Leo's like, in my day, you had to put gas in your car, son.
All right, now watch. You get started by doing this. All right, and now they're following the track. So it says initializing AI.
Okay, so I'm in get connected.
The future of racing.
The cars just did that themselves.
Drive themselves. Take control of any vehicle, and
that
the rest
Patrick
will
Stewart?
come to life.
Sounds like the
and
card.
compete against you.
I don't think
AI control enabled.
The vehicles in Anki Drive
sounds like
control
the
their
back of
speed
Enterprise.
and use
Yo,
advanced predictive
Now
AI
watch, because the cars are
sense
doing
and
their
react to the road
little
ahead,
tricks.
as well as
I'm not doing
steer
anything. This is
freely.
all artificial.
Eric, and let's slip the cause of war.
We figured this out.
But the vehicles in Anki Drive
line must be
can do
drawn
much
here.
more than just race around a track.
There are
Can equip
4
the ability
cars.
weapons and upgrades to help it battle to victory.
That's so win, Andy.
So far, I've done nothing.
Watch as the yellow car, Karai,
Watch.
uses its pulse carbine weapon to attack his opponent.
Okay, go plug the other ones in.
Weapons enabled.
Second car on the left. Gotta hit them one.
So the lights go off. Oh, and he just killed.
Now watch the gray car, folks. Use its tractor beam to pull in Karai and get revenge.
Isn't it just a little bit freaky that you're hearing this voiceover while it's matching perfectly to something that is physically happening with these two cars?
I know.
That's part of what I like about this. A lot of it is really like
You'll
having
gain
having
access to a wide
having an
variety of
aquarium.
weapons and
There's
abilities.
physical things interacting with each other in a very real way.
Are you asking for Anki fish,
The
Andy?
upgrades you choose
I would buy
stay
Anki
with the
fish.
vehicles permanently. Now
Okay, now
choose
what?
a car and let's teach you how to
I
drive.
plugged them in.
All right, I'm going to select the yellow car.
Is he talking to Wesley
So just
Crusher in the
so you can
instructional?
see, this is what the
This
control
is
looks
the
like.
drive.
I don't
You
know.
have speed, you have tractor beam, and you have a pulse charge.
First, let's start with the pulse.
And I'm the yellow car, remember. So I'm going to slide the speed up.
We
Let's slow it down.
Eric, the bus order rag.
Slowed it down.
If Andy and I had Scottish accents, we could do the traditional BBC coverage.
And now it is Emerson
we had the
Fittipaldi
same
first
problem,
through the
basically.
chicane.
Ah, no, you oversteered it.
Push, 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 brake, brake, push, push.
I'm going now. This is as fast as it goes. But in real life, that'd be 432 miles an hour.
I'd like to go far.
James made.
Now watch. I'm going to change lanes. So right now I'm in the outside lane. And so you can't not stay in.
Oh, 200.
Ship back to the outside of the lane.
Blast him, Leo.
Not yet.
The
I'm
basic
getting
controls
trained.
are out of the way.
Trade a little paint.
This is your
Don't call Leo the intimidator of the carpet for nothing.
This is your trigger, which fires your currently equipped weapon. All new drivers start with the
This is my
pulse
Anki
carbine
car.
weapon,
There are many
which
just
fires
like it,
an
but this one is
short arrow
mine.
in front of your vehicle. This is your support item, which activates your vehicle's special
I'm
ability.
a little teapot,
Press
short
hold the
and
track
stout.
beam to draw the gray
This
car
is my
closer
handle.
into firing
This
range.
is my spout.
Now press and hold the trigger to fire your weapon and drain the
I
other
piled
car's
upon the
engine.
back of the car all my hate and all my anger. Would I had a pulse cannon, I would have spat my foot. Good job, Leo.
Notice your items and weapons.
Leo got the Decepticon.
Using them too much can make you vulnerable to attack. When a vehicle runs out of energy, it becomes disabled and the attacker earns a point.
Put that car back on.
Congratulations on completing the new
Now I
use and
think, Alex, you
training.
might be able to
Now
pair
you're ready for battle.
with this silver.
Petaluma Drift.
I'm going to create a player, and that player will be me. Elio.
Nitro Bunny Philly cars, tear up the track in Sunday morning action, 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 action. At Petaluma Raceway, TWiT Studios.
I'm going to play with friends. So who will host
Some
this game?
say.
I will. Choose players, looking for players. All right, all right, all right.
I did not plug it in. I simply touched it against
You can
my
pair with
Oh, now you have to go through the
four
training
audio
though,
devices
see?
at the same time.
See, this is what I found. This is why the kids didn't want to play with this.
because everyone had to get trained.
Because everybody has to go through this crap.
Right.
Like driver's ed.
All right, I'm going to play against you I'm going to play against all three of you. Hold on a second.
All right, here we go.
We call him the Stick.
All we know is it's called the Stick. And on that bombshell,
Those ones are ready. You've already been scolded.
Please return all the vehicles to track.
The little hazard lights on the back of it.
They're not registered yet.
oh, lap 3, we already have a yellow caution out. Very, very slick road surface today. Not surprised that.
See how this could be annoying.
And Tony Stark is
Another
insisting
set.
on
I
driving
think my
his
thing
own
is I'm
car.
gonna have to do this all before my son gets home because he won't put up with like going through this training process.
How old is he, Alex?
He's 6.
Yeah.
I think
No chance.
Whoa!
Whoa.
that guy.
Guy's got Lightning McQueen attitude.
Oh no, he's Days of Thunder saying, you know what?
I don't know which one I'm controlling.
I have
Back
no
on the
idea what I'm
go-kart track, you might have been the hotshot driver, but here you're part of Pennzoil Racing
Oh, you
team.
disabled me.
No, I think you're in gray. I think you're gray. Mine's still. I'm still in like some kind of.
Red car is a showboater. Look at that
You're
cornering.
still training.
Patrick
Tell you
Stewart is
what,
still talking.
Red is the pace car.
Wesley, shut up.
Engage.
All hands, abandon ship, abandon ship.
It happened in the past. It's in the past, Will.
Whoa.
Playing the role of Godzilla on the racetrack.
Also touch the track. The law.
I love these little hazard lights.
Are you playing?
I'm almost there. I think I'm.
He's down.
The thing is, it's hazard.
I have control of the yellow.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm blue. Whoa!
Whoa! I spun out.
Please return all the vehicles to the track. Make it so.
Obviously, it's not a single effort. I really have to give our due to the Mountain Dew pit crew that really got me times out there quickly. Also, we got the Omega watch hat system that we've got for the timing really came through. And
Great.
Well, Leo's changing baseball caps 3 times during this speech.
It's 3 minutes till New Year's somewhere.
Damn you, bandit!
Leo, you're in control of semi-sentient organisms just manning their destiny. Nairobi, Bangkok, Khartoum, Minsk, and Riyadh.
You're still getting trained. See, this is what I found very annoying. And then the other problem is it says you can, once you choose your upgrades, that's it. And I don't know if that's tied to the car or tied to your software or what.
Can you put a beverage holder on top of them? That's
Hey,
my
are you
only
shooting
question.
at me? Somebody shot at me. Oh.
So you may say
Someone
something
from
about
Minsk.
me. I found this to be part of the fun. The idea of just learning how this thing works and watching it work.
That's not allowed.
Andy, unless you display much more entitlement, you're going to be asked to surrender your passport.
No, I'm blue.
No, you're gray.
I am?
Just keep the shiny side up, boys.
No, I'm blue.
I took out gray.
I don't know who Gray is. Gray's an AI. So you're playing now.
I kind of. It's still kind of.
I hear Patrick Stewart still.
Metallic gray. Hot.
Anyway, that concludes this episode of MacBreak Weekly. I want to thank Andy and Akko, the Chicago Sun-Times, for being
Joyex
here.
Novel Year, or whatever you say in whatever weird language that you say instead of English.
And I do want to thank you for getting Alex and me both to waste our money on this. Well
I like
done.
it. For God's sakes, open up your heart to childish wonder, Leo.
Leo, we have 20 seconds till Nairobi.
20 seconds till Nairobi. Do we have anybody in Nairobi?
Yeah, we do. So get on over here. 10.
Oh, we got somebody in Nairobi.
8, 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2,
1.
Happy New Year! Woo! Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Alex Lindsay, Renee Ritchie, imore.com. Thank you for joining us. Now get back to work.
Wait, we got it.
Here's our Nairobi, and Happy New Year, Nairobi. What's your name?
Actually, this is my name at Bahrain.
Nice to see you. And where are you? Are you in Kenya?
I am Islam. I am Manama, is the capital of Bahrain.
That's wonderful. Well, it's great to talk to you. And do you celebrate? Do you celebrate New Year? Is your calendar the same? I don't think it is.
It is.
It is.
Actually,
Okay.
Janet plus 3.
You guys invented it. So,
No, actually,
so I think some pope made it up.
I don't know. Beyond me.
Well, that's welcome
hello,
to 2014. Yes.
Finally, after a long period of listening and seeing your videos, finally I'm talking to you.
Oh, it's wonderful to talk to you. Thank you.
By the way, my name is Islam. Did I mention it?
Sammy.
Islam.
Islam. That's your name.
Yes, exactly.
Oh. Well,
You
it's,
like the religion.
you're named Islam. Well, it's nice to meet you. And say again where you are.
Okay. Bahrain is an island between Iran and Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
It's a kingdom just above, and I am in the capital of Bahrain, which is Manama. And just for the record, Bahrain means 2 seas.
He's in Bahrain.
Yeah, Bahrain. Yeah. It means what?
2 seas.
2 seas. Because you are in between 2 different seas.
Yeah, that.
We're going to pull it up on Google Maps right now. There is Al Manama, which is where you are. Wow. What is the weather like right now? Is it beautiful or is it cold?
It's slightly cold. When you mention cold here, it means 12 degrees centigrade. We have a metric test here, so I'm not sure what is that in Fahrenheit.
That's a pleasant temperature. In fact, it's just right.
Around 20.
Yeah. So you're in the bay there between Qatar and Saudi Arabia.
Exactly, and above us is Baghdad and Kuwait.
Wow. Well, it is so great to talk to you. What does the celebration of New Year's in Bahrain mean?
Well, it depends because we have a lot of Americans here in British and New Zealand,
right.
A lot of countries, and we have humongously amount of Asians. From every country in Asia, we have people here.
Well, so it's a melting pot.
It's exactly like that. Everyone celebrates differently. We have from Pakistan, we have from China, we have from Indonesia, Philippines, Russia, UK, even USA. We have an army base. I actually live near it here in Bahrain.
I am so thrilled that you spent your New Year's Eve with us, and I'm sorry we didn't get to you for the countdown. We were busy playing with those silly cards.
Yeah, I was counting down with you.
Would you do it? Would you do it for us again? Is it in Arabic that you do it?
No, I did it in English because I'm not sure Arabic is a common language there.
Do it in Arabic. Let's hear it. 5.
Well, no, 5 is 5 4 3 2 1. Okay.
And now, how do we say Happy New Year?
أنا سعيدة.
And how do you say Happy New Year?
No?
Oh, he said it.
Yeah, actually.
We have somebody from Saudi Arabia visiting us, so he's waving at you all the way across the ocean.
Actually, very lucky to be there in your state. I'm seriously hoping to see you in person. And I actually talked with Tony a lot about actually covering 2 points. Would you please allow me to do this?
Absolutely. Please, go right ahead.
You did something very nice, converting your netcast, as you call it, from an audio only to video only, because this enhances the perspective of your talk and grabs the attention. And this is very critical for me because I'm a visual person.
Yes.
I started listening to TWiT on an application on Android called, but I couldn't handle it. I kept losing track of talk, so I switched it to TWiT to DP direct. I watched about 6 or 7, I don't remember perfectly, or 7 podcasts from your network.
Wow. Which are your favorites?
I started with all about Android because I'm a
good choice.
Completely Android fan. No, actually, the first one was This Week in Google.
Okay.
And then all about Android, and then This Week in Technology, and then
awesome.
This Week in Tech News, and then TNT. I watched NSFW for once, and I didn't like it. Think about that.
I'm with you. I've only seen it once. I don't want to see it again. I'm going to be in it today. Maybe we could. Brian Brushwood is here. We are going to have a magic show.
You can raise the bar a little about this.
I know. Believe me, Islam. I know where you're coming from on that one, but we try to please everybody.
I watched iPad and iPhone 5 maybe.
That's great. Yeah, the iPad today and i5 for the iPhone.
But,
do you? What is your business? What do you do for a living?
I'm actually a computer engineer in one of the telecom companies here.
That's awesome. And
I am in a logical perspective. I am in Bahrain's AT&T.
Ah, he's a telco guy. So does the NSA have a tap into the telco in in Bahrain?
Well,
no, don't worry. No. No need.
We have one thing about this. No, I'm serious. I don't mind it.
Okay.
The fact that is in Middle East, we have a known perspective that everyone is listening.
Yes.
I watched it. I watched it. Oh, something.
I just had spontaneous combustion of this champagne bottle. I apologize. It just all of a sudden it went off all by itself. Wow. I'm glad that wasn't I wasn't sitting on it. So you in Bahrain, you assume that people are listening all the time.
In the Middle East, we assume that USA is listening.
That we are listening. Of course we are.
Years ago, assuming this.
Yeah. No, I think it's probably the case. Absolutely.
I'm seriously amazed that you didn't believe this.
Well, I think we knew of this, and we knew of going back to post 9/11. We knew of widespread snooping, but it wasn't until we really saw the scope of it, I think, that people really realized it wasn't, here and there investigating a particular case, but it was really a net that was cast very wide.
It's a much better story. See, before it was being told to us, and now they're showing us. So, the show versus
it's visual,
tell,
as you said, Islam.
They're always watching.
Very good point of view.
Yeah.
Second point I'd like to mention, and this is, again, you mentioned this today, and I was having this very bad problem with all fake news on the internet completely. There is, okay, let me go back a little. I started working on the internet because I'm actually a little young, so I'm 29 years old. So I started around 2000. And as usual, as a young person, I started in MSN chat rooms. I remember that was the name. And people did not believe me when I mentioned that I am from Egypt. I'm actually from Egypt, by the way.
Uh-huh.
So, no, guys, I am from Egypt. Do you have guys? Do you use computers? I would always say Egypt was the second country that had train. So we in Egypt, we had computers since the 80s. We had the internet since the 90s. And the internet became a public thing in the 2000s. So it's 13 years old. So we are in a very good shape. Let's say that it's not as good as in USA or UK, but we have a good internet connectivity. We had a good understanding of technology. I am a technology geek. I started on Windows 3, I remember. Windows 3 at 1993 when I was 8 years old. Then started Windows 95. I disassembled my first computer at 1996 with my brother, and I assembled a new computer at 1998. I started with every version of Windows and Office since Word 2 and Word 6, then Office 93 and Office 96.
You've convinced me, Islam. You're a geek. I believe you. When did you come from Egypt to Bahrain?
5 months ago.
Oh, you're new. And are you going to stay there or go back to Egypt?
Yes. I know I'm staying here because I work in the company. I'm not a visitor here.
Right.
But I have to say one thing. Every time, everywhere on the internet, make it TWiT, make it any other podcast or any site, it will say worldwide. And then when I see this worldwide list, there is no Middle East or Africa at all. And then you say worldwide. You are missing one continent.
And what continent is that? Is he frozen?
Yeah.
I will never know.
I think what he was saying is he's missing. He said in all of the news you're missing Africa.
We sweep through Africa, which is
Middle East and Africa.
and one of the.
I'm sorry?
Oh, we got you back. We lost you for a little bit. It's a weak connection, Islam. But one of the.
You are that you are overloaded with connections from people trying to stream your podcast.
It could very well be that. I'm glad to hear it, Islam.
Very nice one.
That's great. And, we have this guy here, Alex Lindsay, who goes to Africa at least once a year and has been really good at helping us understand better the diversity and the vast size of that country, of the continent.
Chance to bring this force of saying that Middle East exists on the planet and Africa as well exists on the planet,
Yes.
and we have everything. And actually, I'm a very interested person in technology, and I have two. I'm actually believing that in the Middle East alone, Samsung is investing a lot because they are selling millions of phones in Middle East only. In Bahrain, I saw about 10 or 20 Note 3 in the same week of launch.
Well, and the other thing, if you want to see a bunch of great videos, we streamed Transform Africa, which was out of Rwanda in October, and it's all up on YouTube now. And it's a great collection of everything from leaders from Africa to, around East Africa, as well as from all over Africa and the Middle East, talking about what's happening there, and it's definitely worth checking out.
I really want to say that I hope that this today will begin a new focus from us here to focus globally, not just the Middle East, not just Africa, but globally, and not be so U.S. centric. Because I think that that's one of the things that connects us, all of us geeks, is technology.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting video from you.
You know what? The Skype is failing. Islam, it is so good to talk to you. I wish you a happy 2014, and I look forward to having you here in the Brick House.
All your team.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to this year, and I'm looking forward to follow everything with you.
Thank you
very much.
Take care.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Islam.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And we will. Yeah, this is really, to me, the most important thing about everything that is happening in technology is that we really remember it is a global world, and there's nothing that brings us together better than the internet.
Absolutely.
And the best hope for peace on our planet is this kind of connection, talking to people instead of demonizing them. And I think it's really fabulous that we can do this, and we want to do a whole lot more.
I have to say that if someone wants to, if someone in the chat room or anywhere wants to recommend like an Apple tech podcast that is actually based in Africa, that's actually based in Asia, that's based someplace about 6,000 miles away from North America, I'd actually be very, very interested. Ideally in English,
right?
But it's like there's such a totally different perspective when you it's the same technology, same types of users, but when you put it into a different environment, and you wonder why is a certain type of phone, why is a certain type of device much more popular overseas than here? Why is this application the #1 seller over there when you think that there is a localized equivalent available for it? And that's the only thing you get by listening to the counterpart to geeks are geeks everywhere, even if the environment is different. So it'd be great to hear the same complaints that people make about Microsoft filtered through the problems about using it in a different context.
Had we had a better connection, I would have asked Islam what he thinks of all the crapware Samsung's loaded on the Note 3. And then we would have had a good conversation about that, no doubt. We're going to wrap up MacBreak Weekly. We've got a science show coming up. We're going to blow some stuff up in just a bit. I want to thank you, Andy and Akko, for joining us. Happy New Year. Have a great New Year's Eve. And we'll see you in 2014 on MacBreak Weekly. Thank you, Andy. Take care. Thanks to Renee Ritchie, too. Happy New Year in Montreal.
New Year. Bonne année.
Bonne année. Au revoir. And we'll see you in
à la prochaine.
2014. Yes?
Yeah, I'm off to CES next week, but I'll be back the week after.
Okay, good. Have fun at CES. Maybe we'll hook up with you there. That's great. Thank you, Renee. Take care. You're going to go to Vegas too, Andy?
Yep, I'll be leaving in the middle of the week, but I will be there for the first few days.
Unheard of. Unheard of. That's awesome.
I decided that I need to increase my risk of sunstroke and skin cancer. So my doctor advised it. So
enjoy a fine cigarette or two while you're out here as well. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Alex, Lindsay. You're going to go make some drinks. We're going to go blow some stuff up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Now get back to work because Mac Break is over.
And 2:30.
It's over.
At 2:30.
2:30.
Hey, thank you. You need my jacket? Is the tailor coming?
No, the tailor's there, and they can do it right now.
I don't have the buttons. They've popped off.
Where are the buttons?
Well, they fell off. I don't know where they are.
Happy New Year, Lisa.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Lisa.
I'll see you guys at CES, too.
You didn't pick in the
Awesome.
Come by the
We're not going to have any guests.
Panasonic booth.
We're going to be in South Hall broadcasting. Any of you?
Yeah. I was talking to Callie yesterday.
Do you think you can make a connection to call in?
But yeah, definitely. I'll be bouncing around at least until Thursday morning.
One's around here.
So definitely ping me.
Here's one.
Awesome.
Happy
Happy New Year,
Cheers,
Chad.
everyone.
Cool. Happy New Year's. Good job. See y'all later.
Thanks, Chad.
Bye.
Guys.
Don't they have extra satin buttons?
I don't know. but
They probably have extra satin buttons.
I'll have one, like, sewn in the jacket. There might be. I'll have
Cool.
Now I look like Larry King. Larry King live. So is it Pro XPN time? Hello, Pro XPN. We believe it or not, we have a fine sponsor. They look like protesters, and they are. They're protesting. You know what they're protesting? They're protesting the lack of freedom on the internet, the freedom to use the internet the way you want it to be, anonymously, without filtering, without geographic restrictions, and that's why we love Pro XPN. Pro XPN is an open VPN provider. They also offer PPTP for devices that can't use it. Although I think with their iOS and Android apps, you're pretty much set up to use OpenVPN everywhere you go. Why use it? To protect yourself, your privacy online. Your ISP can see everything you do. If you're at an open access spot, just as bad. Everybody in that open access spot can see everything you do. At a hotel, the whole network is visible. So that's why you want to use OpenVPN. That's why you want to use Pro XPN. And they're an open VPN provider that have servers all over the world. So you can emerge from the OpenVPN tunnel in Dallas, in Seattle, in London, Los Angeles, Singapore, New York City, and Amsterdam, eliminating geographic restrictions. If your ISP is one of those lousy six strikes fellas, hey, no problem. They won't see what you're doing. They don't know what you're doing. It's a 512-bit encrypted tunnel, 2048-bit encryption key. It is absolutely secure for Mac, for Windows, for iOS, and for Android. And right now, we've got a very special deal. When you go to proxpn.com/twit. By the way, when you get there, browse around and learn a little bit about what ProXPN offers. They do have a free offering. The Pro offering gives you excellent speed, great performance. Normally $6.25 a month when it's billed annually. You can get a 20% off deal right now, just not for the first month, not for the first year, but for the life of your account at proxpn.com/twit. Use our offer code TWIT20 to get 20% off the premium plan. That brings it down below $5 a month for that kind of protection. It is a very, very good deal. And of course, as always, 7-day risk-free trial, so you can cancel anytime in the first 7 days and pay nothing. proxpn.com/twit. Thank you for your support of our New Year's Eve festivities on Twit. proxpn.com/twit. Use the offer code TWIT20. All right, now, what is next?
You need to do ads, or you need to do a title and tease.
Title and tease.
How about the title, Buy That Ferret?
All right. This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 383, recorded December 31st, 2013. Buy that ferret. And there are no billboards.
No billboards, just a tease.
All righty. And now we're going to do Science Project.
Just a tease.
Is that right?
You need to do a tease.
I didn't do a tease. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MacBreak Weekly. Andy Anako, Renee Ritchie, and Alex Lindsay are here to celebrate the end of 2013, the beginning of 2014. And just a word of warning, I don't want you to be upset, but sometime during this show, this bottle of champagne will spontaneously erupt. Stay tuned. MacBreak Weekly is next. I don't want anybody to be upset.